In an era where so many startups are collapsing and shutting down, let's look at what are the top 5 deadly mistakes many founders are making, which is leading to this shutdown of startups. The first mistake to avoid when you're building a startup as a founder is to not define the deliverable for which your customer will pay money. A lot of startup founders get caught up in just designing tech or some kind of a complex application without really defining what is that bottom line deliverable that I'm going to offer to my customer as a product or service for which the customer will be willing to pay money. Now, this is a simple common sense test that most startups fail at because they don't really spend time on defining that deliverable which is of value for money to the customer. So that's the first thing you need to do before you even start building your startup. The second common mistake a lot of founders make is that they're ignoring the power and freedom that comes with bootstrapping. Look, I know fundraising has been over glamorized by the media, especially by the startup media. But please understand this, the true definition of an entrepreneur is an individual who is free to make decisions and move the business in the direction that suits their vision. Now you are losing that freedom to make decisions and you end up becoming someone who has to seek approval for the smallest steps when you're going for fundraising. Now, I'm not against the idea of fundraising, but first give your business a shot in a bootstrapping model, because bootstrapping is sexy. Bootstrapping gives you freedom. First, build for bootstrapping. Raise funding for scale. And in fact, the truth is this, the later in your journey you raise funds, the more value you will unlock. So why are you looking at raising funds right from day one? Raise funds for scale, not for sustenance. So this is a common mistake that so many founders are making, and they're ending up building something that will only get investor approval, not necessarily market approval. So build for the market, build something that's bootstrapped. Which brings me to the third deadly mistake a lot of founders make. The third deadly mistake a lot of founders make is that they hire and they expect that this talent that they are bringing in will solve their business problems. Look, the talent can build for you, but the direction has to be given by you. You need to know what is a viable business model in your industry, and you need to give direction to your team of building a product which will be in alignment with a viable business model. Talent is not the solution to all your problems. So do not over-invest in talent and bring in people just because they come with names of certain startups that they've been a part of on their CV. You first determine the direction, the business model, the fundamentals, and then you bring in competent people to execute those tasks. Don't rely upon those competent people to solve your business problems. They can solve your operational or product or marketing problems. Which brings me to the fourth mistake a lot of founders make. The fourth big mistake a lot of founders make is they fall into the trap of technology arrogance. What is technology arrogance? Technology arrogance is where the founder gives more priority to the tech than to the customer behavior, the customer beliefs, the customer habits. Now remember one thing, you got to build something that is customer centric. You can't build something that is out of your world of fantasy just because you know how to code and then expect the customer to adapt to it. And if the customer doesn't adapt, then you still sleep every night with technology supremacy, saying we have the most advanced tech design, but we are ahead of our time in the market. That's a total bullshit belief system. Build something that people will use. Build something which is of value to people. Build something which is in alignment with the natural behavior of people and still can make them more efficient. Build something that is people-centric, not tech-centric. That is a very, very, very big mistake that so many startups make, and that's one of the biggest reasons why they fail. Now, if you would like to understand how do you build customer-centric products or services, how do you build scalable, profitable businesses, then I invite you to spend 2.5 hours with me at the Business Success Workshop. I'd like you to click on the link below and register yourself for this 2.5 hour workshop, because at the Business Success Workshop, I break down for you the 4 types of businesses. I break down for you what are the 3 key changes you need to make so that you build a growth-oriented business which is both scalable and profitable. One of the biggest traps that a lot of startups fall into is they only build for scale without any visibility of profitability and with wishful thinking that profitability will happen automatically. It doesn't work that way, my friend. And that's why you need to prioritize these 2 points. You need to prioritize building something for scale, and you need to prioritize building something that is profitable. And if you'd really like to do that, then explore the Business Success Workshop. Click on the link and register right now. It will be of massive value to you. Which brings me to the 5th and final mistake you need to avoid as a founder of a startup. The 5th and final mistake you need to avoid as a founder is ignoring the aspect of culture building. So many startups, we hear about it, it's written, where ex-employees leave these so-called established startups and complain about the work culture. You know, culture comes before competence, and most founders don't understand that. Now I know you are playing this game of speed where execution at a fast pace wins, but not at the cost of strength, my friend. And culture is what creates strength for your organization. I've had friends who work in top management teams of startups for not more than 6 months, because they say when they join that startup, what they are promised to what they experience in-house in the boardroom meetings is totally different. Please understand this. Just because you have the money, just because you pay people well, does not mean you own their soul. Respect, care, connection, bonding are critical aspects that will go a long way in building loyal teams. Today, people complain about attrition and they say loyalty is a myth. But the truth is, loyalty is becoming a myth because leadership is becoming a myth. Just being authoritative, dictatorial, bossy, abusive, just because you are good at technology does not qualify you as a capable, competent leader. Culture is the foundation on which you'll build a lasting organization. Otherwise, you're just building some kind of a mom and pop store which is opening for 6 months and shutting down in 6 months. So make sure that you prioritize culture as a founder, because that's when you'll build core teams, leadership teams that carry the ethos of your organization, that carry the flavor of who you are, and build something that is sustainable. Culture cannot be ignored. So these are the common mistakes that a lot of founders make, which leads to the collapse of their startups. I hope you found value in this video, and if you did, make sure you subscribe to this channel right now for more such content, and like this video so the YouTube algorithm pushes it to more people. I look forward to seeing you at the Business Success Workshop. If you've not registered yet, register right now, because that's where the learning journey actually begins.